Hello everybody, Mr. Pace, special edition of Woodmen Hills Exposed. Alright, we're going to make this a short video. Years ago, Benjamin Green and Falcon Properties and Investments got together, collaborated, signed a contract that in perpetuity Benjamin Green would get money for all the lots sold, all the development transactions, and everything done in Woodmen Hills. Now, fast forward. Filing 11, which was to be done, it was a cost of about $13 to $16 million, depending on who you ask, needed water. The Cherokee deal is part of that water because so much of that water is permanently assigned to this filing. And all of those documents are filed at the county. Okay, we're going to get through that real quick. What happened was all of the money for all of the lots that were supposed to be built was supposed to go into a fund to pay off the debt, to pay for the infrastructure, because we were never, let me repeat, we were never, ever to pay for infrastructure, ever. That's in the service plan. That's a fact. That's a big one. And apparently you smart people can't wrap that around your skull. It's the reason why your bills are what they are. So what they did is they put in the infrastructure, bonded it out, and stuck it on us. No. 800 houses, or 853 homes, let's go with 850, rounded up. It's actually 1,000, okay? The original number was 1,000. If you take just whatever the number is, 1,000 houses, and you get $100 from each house, what do you get? Right, so basically what happens is the $30,000 or $40,000 lot premiums were supposed to be used to pay down the infrastructure. That money was never used for that. No. And that's the lie that they perpetrated on the county commissioners, okay? Now, what happened is that now you're talking about water and all of the infrastructure. So let me explain. When Green and the boys all bought the water from the Guthrie wells and all the leases and all the stuff, all of that was supposed to be paid for by us. We borrowed the money, or they borrowed the money in promissory notes to get the water here. Then they started using bonds to create the wells and the infrastructure that they were supposed to pay for. That didn't happen. They were taking the money out and not applying it as it was supposed to be applied. So basically they were just taking it. Then what they did is they kept rolling the promissory notes over and doing all these things in perpetuity. Okay. Meanwhile, Benjamin Green, who signed the contract with Falcon Properties Investments, was to collect money every time a lot was sold and any development was done, all the way up until the last thing over here at the village. I don't know, he collected $200,000 or $300,000 for that, right? But it wasn't done under his name. So when Jan and the board and all these people were claiming, you don't know what you're talking about, Rusty Green didn't technically, yes he did. Under his companies he got the money. Now I have even more evidence of that. Get to that later. So what happened was, we weren't supposed to have this amount of debt. When they were building all of this, portions of all the money that was raised in order to do all this infrastructure was supposed to pay off that building and that building. There was a 20-year note on that, and there was a 20-year bond on this, basically. I mean, it's longer, but you can get the idea. Now, what happened was, the money that the board was collecting when they raised the bill, which is basically unrestricted cash. It's unrestricted. It's a fact. Okay? All you have to do is look at it. Okay? That money was supposed to be taken and put on what? That's right, the bond. To the person who told me otherwise, you're wrong. They were saving this money to build a plant. Bieber Stowe at the meeting let the cat out of the bag. The district cannot save millions of dollars in an anticipation of building something. They're not allowed to. So all that money, just as I said, should have been refunded to you and me and everybody. It's like a Tabor move. That's right. So they basically raised your bills, just like I said 10 years ago, to overbill you to put money in the bank. Fact. I now have it. Fact. I documented it. Trust me. This is going to be big, because this is a fraud of epic proportions that they overbilled everybody to put money in the bank to save up to build that plant. That's why they did it. And guess who was the consultant that told them to do it? I wasn't lying, and I wasn't wrong. And inadvertently, someone opened their mouth, and I now have it taken care of. See, folks, I'm not the guy you thought I was. I'm not the bad guy. The fact is the bills were raised basically $20 to $30 a month so they could save up millions of dollars to pay for something that they weren't allowed to save up for. And thanks to Bieber Stowe and the tape recorded comments I have with Dave Stiver in the room, he basically told him you can't do that. We're not supposed to have that kind of unfettered cash in the bank. We're only allowed to have so much. That's the lie. They took your money, millions of it, sitting in the bank. They could have used that money because when they were refinancing the bonds, they already knew they couldn't do that. Once they got the money for the plant and they set aside the $2.4 million, right? And they paid off Green and bought it and paid off all the money we owe him for the wells. I'll get into that in another segment, okay? You now understand what I know. The bills aren't supposed to be anywhere near this high. Not even close. And that unrestricted cash could have been used to pay off a bond, and you would have gotten out of your compulsory payment for the park and rec, which means they would have only had to charge you a maintenance fee of $20 bucks a month, say, right? But you wouldn't have been forced to pay for it anymore. But Green was consulting with the board, with Mean Gene, Peterson, and the board. Now you know why. Because every time that the bonds get redone, Green gets paid. I can't explain it all to you right now, but I'm going to keep this short. When you finally realize the economic fraud that was perpetrated on all of us, you should be mad. I know I am. But thanks to my meetings with people, I now know the facts. And it's disgusting. A developer was influencing elected officials because he knew exactly what he was doing, and that's it. And I'm going to now tell you this, just like Eric Stowe stated at that meeting, this district cannot save money for a capital improvement project. Recorded. That's why they were saving the money. That's why your bills were so high. Don't blame me. Okay? When this recall goes down and Troy's gone and Bendelow's out and Cole goes his own little way and McGinn gets sent up the road just like I've been talking to people about, we'll be able to repair the problem. And you know what I'm going to do? The first thing I'm going to do is apply that money to the debt so the bills go down. And that's what should have happened. We don't need to keep that kind of money in the bank when we already have a $2.4 million surplus this is the funniest thing. We borrowed $2.4 million over and above everything as a reserve fund, and we're paying interest on a reserve fund. Think about that. I'm Mr. Pace. I know money. I'm going to leave it at that. So when you start hearing the truth, it's even worse than what you thought it was. And I welcome anybody to sue me anytime, any place, anywhere, because discovery is my best friend. Now you know the facts. Have a good day.